Hey there everyone, Drew Goldfarb from Dbacks.com. We got a lot of baseball to talk about today. If you want to see the full version of this video, head on over to Dbacks.com and begin your free 7-day trial. But let's get right into it with the first of today's games. Now, not every game is going to have plus EV, and one of those examples is Baltimore hosting the New York Yankees. The O's minus 118, the Yankees right at that even money mark, plus 100 to get the win today. The Yanks 19-10 on the season, the Orioles 17-10 on the year. They've basically both won 6 of their last 10 games, so very similar in basically every capacity. The run differential, very comparable as well, especially when you factor in the fact that Baltimore has played 2 fewer games than New York, although the Yanks do have the third best run differential in all of Major League Baseball. Now, the simulations from ESPN Analytics say that the Orioles should win this game 52% of the time. Basically, close to toss-up potential. Yankees at 48% odds to win this one versus plus 100 with implied odds of 50%. So there isn't plus EV on either side of things. But this pitching matchup is really interesting. Clark Schmidt going up against Grayson Rodriguez. Schmidt's ERA is 1 full run better than Rodriguez so far this season. They're a combined 5-1 on the year so far. They've each pitched into the mid-20 total innings at this point. Their strikeout numbers, huge. Both of them averaging more than 1 strikeout per inning of work. So prop bet-wise, you could be looking at a strikeout prop for either of these teams, although obviously they're going up against the O's and the Yankees, so it's a bit tricky when you do that. You can basically back both pitchers off and combine them into a same-game parlay if you want to buy yourself 1 or 2 strikeouts worth of insurance per pitcher and still get a pretty close to even money payout. Otherwise, the Yankees at plus 100 are always going to be intriguing. The Orioles at home at minus 118. They are always a good bet at home as well, but I think the value on this side has to be the Yankees, but there still is not a plus EV play in this game. There is plus EV in our second game that we're going to feature here, which is the Nationals and the Marlins. Washington plus 116 moneyline odds to pick up the win in this one. Miami minus 136. Now, if we take a look at this pitching matchup, you're talking about Jake Irvin and Trevor Rogers, neither of whom have had great starts to the season at this point. Neither is averaging a strikeout per inning. Their ERAs are both north of 4, which is not great, and they're a combined 1-5 on the season. Rogers is 0-3 in his decisions so far and has issued 9 walks on the season. Still, ESPN Analytics says Miami has plus EV, and by a decent little margin, because they say that the Marlins should win this matchup 59% of the time, and that's 41. The implied odds of Miami at minus 136 is 57.63%. So as long as that bet at minus 136 hits 58% of the time, you're making money in the long run. ESPN Analytics says it should hit 59% of the time. Now, the Marlins are on a 6-game losing streak, and the Nationals have won 3 straight, and they're 1 game below 500, whereas Miami is 17 games below 500. It has been a disastrous start to the year for the Miami Marlins. They're 2-14 playing at home this season. They are 4-9 on the road, so that is some struggles for them all year long. They have the 3rd worst run differential in Major League Baseball. So ESPN Analytics says Miami has plus EV. Looking at some of the numbers and not taking the simulations into account and all that stuff, I actually think Washington has better odds, better value there. They're basically a 500 team this season. They're on a 3-game win streak. They're paying out at above even money, and they're going up against what has been one of the worst teams in baseball this year. Injury is a big part of that, but Trevor Rogers not off to a great start. So if Rogers is not going to bounce back and cut that ERA in half with his start today, I think Washington at plus 116 is where the value is. We're close to plus EV on this game as Detroit hosts the St. Louis Cardinals. This is a minus 108 pick'em. Minus 108 on either side of today's money line. ESPN Analytics says the Tigers should win this one 51.3% of the time. Implied odds here 51.9%, regardless of which side you wager on. So no value on the St. Louis side, maybe some value on the Detroit side of things. And as we dig a little bit deeper, looking at Steven Matz and Kenta Maeda, both of whom have ERAs north of 5. So we're talking about Washington and Miami's pitching matchup. This one even worse. You could be looking at an over at 8.5 runs. Detroit, though, a winning record on the season. They've won 6 of their last 10, while the Cards have lost 6 of their last 10. The run differentials here, basically Detroit is about a wash on the year. They're a +3. St. Louis a -23 through 28 games played, so they average getting outscored by 1 run per game. So the Tiger side of the money line has a bit of value. I do like the over because of the starting pitching. You could look at a first 5 innings or a first 3 innings if you go over to DraftKings over on total runs to see if you can bet on basically the first time through each lineup that we get a couple of runs scoring on that, because we got a totals line of 8.5 runs. So that is how I would look at it. There's technically no plus EV in this situation, but Detroit is at home. They're 16-12 overall. They are only 6-8 at home. St. Louis, 500 team on the road, but the Tigers have been the better team thus far this season. That is how I would lean in a game like this, and not just because I'm wearing the Detroit Stars shirt. If you enjoy those breakdowns, you're going to want to head over to dgpicks.com and begin your free trial for 7 days, because we broke down 6 Major League Baseball games today. We'll also be talking about the NHL playoffs and Major League Baseball throughout the week, throughout the month, throughout the year. dgpicks.com, also available at patreon.com/Drew Goldfarb. Let me know your picks in the comments below and what you want to see more of here on social media, on dgpicks.com. What is it that you're interested in betting at? Because that's what I want to help you with. Let me know.